You're listening to School Counseling Simplified, a podcast with easy-to-implement strategies for busy school counselors. Here's your host, Rachel Davis from Bright Futures Counseling.
Do you know what's been a game changer for my program? Starting the year with a Meet the Counselor lesson. Let's face it, even if you've been at your school for years, there are still students and staff who don't know what counselors do. That's why starting the year with a Meet the Counselor lesson is vital no matter where you are in your counseling journey. By outlining exactly what your responsibilities are, and are not, what situations you're available to help with, and what isn't a good fit for your program, you will set clear expectations and take the confusion out of the counselor's role. Join me in a free live training where I'll be sharing how you can use a Meet the Counselor lesson to engage students and advocate for your role. And for showing up live, you'll get a PD certificate and a free Meet the Counselor lesson to use on your own. So in this training, I'm going to show you the ins and outs of my favorite Meet the Counselor activity. I'm going to show you how to organize it, set it up, and deliver a perfect Meet the Counselor lesson. Then I'll share how you can use that Meet the Counselor lesson to ensure that you're impacting more students. By explaining exactly what your role is and how students can utilize your services, you'll reach more students and have a larger impact. And finally, I'll show you how you can use that Meet the Counselor lesson with staff to advocate for your position. I'll show you how you can edit it so it can be better used with faculty and staff. Now, you're about to start the year by reaching more students than ever before. Does that sound great or what? When students know what services you offer and how to contact you, they're going to feel more comfortable reaching out. When faculty finally understands what the job of a school counselor is and isn't, they'll send more and better referrals. Taking the stigma out of going to see the counselor is vital to a thriving school counseling program, and an effective Meet the Counselor lesson is one of the best tools for getting started on the right foot this year. So I hope you'll join me in my free live training. It's on August 13th and August 14th. I'm offering a couple different times for you guys. Go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/MTC for Meet the Counselor. Again, that's stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/MTC to save your seat. I'll be sharing how you can use that Meet the Counselor activity to engage students and advocate for your role. Like I said, just for showing up live, you'll get a free lesson and a PD certificate of attendance. Again, that's August 13th and 14th. I got a couple different times, so save your seat at stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/MTC. All right, guys, can't wait to see you there. It's back to school season. Yay! I absolutely love the start of a new school year. It reminds me of when I was a kid getting all of my school supplies at the stores, my big Lisa Frank binders and all of that fun stuff. But really, I was thinking about those Lisa Frank binders the other day and what was up with the themes? There were dolphins on spaceships and panda bears on rainbows, just crazy stuff, but they were so fun. That's what I always think of when it comes to back to school. But what you're probably thinking of when it comes to back to school is, what am I going to do this year? Help! So I've got 2 freebies that you absolutely have to download. So the first one is a 30, 60, 90-day plan, and I give you a checklist of what you can do during your first 30, 60, and 90 days as a school counselor. This is a great way to break down that seemingly overwhelming to-do list that you have. So to snag that one, go to bit.ly/306090counseling. Again, bit.ly/306090counseling. And the other freebie I have, y'all, I'm so pumped for this one. If you haven't downloaded these lesson plans yet, you absolutely have to. I have for you a free year-long curriculum map telling you when to do and what to do every single month across every single tier. So these are lesson plans for elementary school counselors. I have in there what class lesson, what small group, what individual activity, and which data tool to use, and when to use it, and how to use it. You're going to love these. Again, they're free counseling lesson plans for you guys. Go to bit.ly/counseling lesson plans to download those. It's bit.ly/counseling lesson plans. Okay, guys, I'm also going to throw the links in the show notes to make it a little easier for you. I hope you love these freebies and they make your school year so much fun. All right, back to the podcast. You're listening to another episode of School Counseling Simplified. So like I said, in August, we're focusing all on getting ready for back to school. I love back to school season. Be sure to grab those freebies that I mentioned earlier because they're going to make your life so much easier this back to school season. And be sure to attend that Meet the Counselor training. So that is this week, y'all. It is today, Tuesday, and tomorrow, Wednesday. I really don't want you guys to miss that. It's like my favorite training I do all year. I'll be sharing how you can use a Meet the Counselor lesson to increase your impact and advocate for your role, how to engage students using this lesson. It's really powerful. Some people think it's a simple like get to know you lesson, and many of you may even skip it or think it's unnecessary or just like extra planning at the beginning of the year. But it's totally worth it. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how you can use it with staff, how you can use it to advocate for your role, how you can use it to reach more students. So I love this training, and I'm giving everyone who shows up a free Meet the Counselor lesson. So show up if for anything for the Meet the Counselor lesson, and then hopefully you learn something as well, and you guys will be getting a PD certificate, of course. So I really hope I'll see you there. It's stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/MTC to save your seat, and I'm offering a couple different times, one in the daytime and one in the evening, depending on like your life situation. Maybe you're in school, maybe you're out of school. I don't know. Wanted to offer a couple different days and times for you guys. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into today's episode, where I'll be sharing, we will touch on Meet the Counselor lessons as well, but I'll be sharing all about back to school activities to get you started, and I have 6 things for you that I want to talk about today. First off is a caseload spreadsheet. So I love to use spreadsheets to stay organized. In a caseload spreadsheet, this is something you can just do on your Google Drive using Google Sheets. That's how I do mine. And I recommend starting it now, even if you only have like 2 kids you're seeing, because school's just getting started, because this is going to save you so much time and keep you super organized, ensuring that no students slip through the cracks. So what you're going to have on here, it basically is twofold. It starts off with some identifying factors, and then it has a checklist. So the identifying factors are things like student name, grade level, teacher's name, why you're seeing them. That's like their area of need, and who referred them. And then the checklist is things like, did you send a permission slip? Did you receive the permission slip? Have you contacted the parent? Have you asked the teacher for the ideal time? Have you scheduled the sessions? This way you can kind of keep tabs on where you're at with each student to stay organized. That way if the parent or the counselor or the teacher or principal is like, hey, what's up with this student? And you're like, oh, I've already received the permission slip. I'm just waiting to hear back from the teacher on the best time. Or I've already heard the best time from the teacher. I'm just waiting for the permission slip. Something like that. Now, it's a great way to organize your kiddos. You're just going to list on here every student that you're seeing in counseling. So these are students that you're going to be seeing in your tier 2 and tier 3. So in your not your class lessons, in your small groups and in your individual counseling. So if you're doing a small group with 5 kids, all 5 of their names will be on there. And then I like to highlight them in the same color so you can see that they're in the same group. If you're seeing individual students, they'll be listed there as well. Now, once you finish sessions with a student, you can make another tab at the bottom to kind of graduate them, and you'll move them over there so you can see past students that you've seen. But this is like a living, breathing document of kiddos that you're currently seeing. So really cool. And you can always use it later for data when you're trying to show like the services that you provided or the number of students served in groups or in individual. You can always use this then. And now the counseling log, can be used alongside the caseload, but they are different. So this is another spreadsheet. This one's going to be a document of when you're seeing the kiddos and what you're doing with them. So you're going to have the date, the child's name, how many minutes they were with you, the capacity, so was it individual or was it small group, and then like a little jot down of what you did, super brief, like, oh, we did a board game on feelings or something. This way you can log the minutes that you're seeing students, and you can kind of keep track of the last time you saw somebody, how many students you're seeing each week, everything like that. So I love to use the caseload and the counseling log daily. Totally recommend getting those forms set up now. That way you're good to go once you get busy later on this year. Now I have a resource in my store called the Counseling Hub that has both these forms. I'll link to that in the show notes for you guys. So that was number 1 and 2. Number 3 is a needs assessment. So at the start of a new school year, I love to do a needs assessment. A needs assessment is where you're going to ask teachers, you're going to survey them on what needs they think they have. Now, some teachers may be brand new and they may not know, but some teachers are probably back from last year, and so they have a good pulse on like needs of the school. So you can just say like, give them choices, like scale of 1 to 5, what do you think the degree of need is for bullying prevention? Scale of 1 to 5, what do you think the degree of need is for friendships or conflict resolution. And this will kind of give you a baseline of what you can form some of your class lessons around. You could also send a needs assessment to parents. For number 4, referral forms. So referral forms are how you're going to figure out who you'll see for counseling. So these are forms you want to have available all over, put them in the staff lounge, send them home to parents, have digital versions on your website, put them in the classrooms, literally have them everywhere, front office, your office, anywhere you can think. But you want people to be able to easily access these so they can submit a child for counseling. So you're going to have on here the kid's name, the area of need, the severity, any additional comments, and then you can collect these, and then you'll gather your referrals and see. That's how you'll form small groups, and that's how you'll do those next steps. Like, okay, I received referral, now I need to send a permission slip and contact the parent, and so on. Which leads me to our 5th one, which is a back to school night. So if you're doing a back to school night, I love to have referral forms on my table. So this could be like an open house before school starts, or my one school I worked at, we did a back to school night like after school had started, which was kind of unique. So either way, or you could host your own, but just kind of piggyback on the one that your school's doing will make it easiest. But have a little booth where you can introduce yourself, share the services that you provide, meet parents. This really destigmatizes the role of the school counselor. It's a positive, awesome free service that we provide. Tell them how you're doing class lessons for everyone, but that small groups and individual counseling is referral based. And here's some referral forms if they feel like their child has a need. So that's how you can kind of combine the referral forms with the back to school night. Another thing I like to have at the back to school night is a brochure with my picture, my contact information, and the 3 tiers of counseling, explaining the services that we provide, explaining how they know if their child will be seen for counseling, and that they will always be contacted for permission unless it's in, class lessons setting. You can kind of, clear the air on what we do in our class lessons, explain like what SEL is, character education, social skills, however you say it at your school. Just the more information, the better for parents, but definitely that contact piece, and have a QR code on there for a referral form. So if they forgot to grab a paper version, they can always fill one out there. And lastly for you guys is, of course, the Meet the Counselor lesson. So I always recommend doing a Meet the Counselor lesson. I love to do a digital game show. That's my favorite way to do it because it's super easy. It's like Jeopardy, and you divide the class into teams, and they can play to guess, what's the role of the school counselor. I also love to do a escape room where kids are kind of working through different missions to solve and crack the case of the school counselor. So there's a few different ways you can do it, or you can just do some simple boom cards to review the role of the school counselor. But regardless of which activity you choose, I think it's so important to dive deeper. So if, for example, the question is like, the school counselor sees everybody, true or false? Well, the answer is true because we do in class lessons, but the school counselor sees everyone individually, true or false? And the answer would be false. But then don't just move on. Kind of dive into that and talk about, I see kids individually based on referrals. We can do self-referrals. If you ever feel like you want to come to the counselor, ask your teacher for a student self-referral form. So you're kind of diving deeper and sharing how they can access your services, because we really want kiddos to know what to do if they need us. That way, again, no one slips through the cracks. Counseling is a heart job, and it's so many counselors I know have just the biggest hearts in the world and passion, and they're so talented in their job, but sometimes the logistics piece gets a little overwhelming for them. So that's why I love to go over this stuff with you guys, to give you the tools you need on the back end so you can succeed with the kiddos. All right, I hope you have an awesome back to school. Please join me for that Meet the Counselor training, guys. It's this week. I don't want you to miss it. The first one is today, Tuesday, August 13th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and the second one is tomorrow, Wednesday, August 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Pick the day or time that works best for you. Go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/MTC for Meet the Counselor, MTC, to save your seat. I really hope I'll see you guys there so you can get your free lesson and learn more about it. Okay, and don't forget to snag those freebies I had for you at the beginning too, the 30, 60, 90-day plan and your counseling lesson plans. I hope you guys have the best school year ever, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to School Counseling Simplified. You can find the links from today's episode in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with Rachel, she's on Instagram and Teachers Pay Teachers at Bright Futures Counseling. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes of School Counseling Simplified. Talk to you next week.